Okay, good morning. Ayun na. Okay. So, pag-uusapan natin yung last topic para dito sa course natin, and that is about the measures of association and their tests of significance. Sinend ko na dun sa Google Classroom yung document para dito sa topic. I-share screen ko muna. Share screen. Saan ba yun? Ito, measures of association. Okay. So, dapat makikita na is yung measures, yung document about measures of correlation and their tests of significance. Actually, yung tatlo dito, natapos na natin, na-discuss natin to before pa. Nung diniscuss natin yung about sa chi-square tests of independence, yung phi coefficient, contingency coefficient, tsaka Cramer's V coefficient. Magagamit natin tong correlations na to, itong phi, contingency, tapos Cramer's V, after ng significant result ng chi-square tests. So, ang kailangan muna natin gawin, magka-chi-square tests, tapos part ito, isa-select natin yung phi, contingency, tapos Cramer's phi. Yung phi coefficient, magagamit lang natin to kapag meron tayong 2 by 2 table na chi-square. Yung contingency coefficient, magagamit natin if we have 2 by k table, for example, 2 by 3, 2 by 4, 2 by 5, etc. Samantalang yung Cramer's V, magagamit natin if we have n by k table, 3 by 3, 3 by 4, 3 by 5, 4 by 3, 4 by 5, ganun. So, yun, yung kung kailan ginagamit si phi coefficient, contingency coefficient, tapos Cramer's phi coefficient. Ulit, na-discuss na natin itong tatlo before pa. Na pinag-uusapan natin ay yung test of differences, tapos nabanggit natin dun yung chi-square, test of independence. Kung sa SPSS, dito siya makikita, share screen. Although pinakita ko na to before, ito, share screen. So, dito, sa SPSS, ano yung mga kailangan nating i-click para makita tong chi-square? Wait, tanggalin ko tong. Ano ba to? Okay. So, punta tayo sa analyze, descriptive statistics, tapos, saan ba yun dito? Crosstabs? Crosstabs ba yan? Ay, wala pala akong data dito. Lagyan ako ng kahit anong data. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1. Ayan. Or, ayan. Pachamba lang muna. So, analyze, descriptives, hindi. Bakit ito? Analyze, descriptive, crosstabs. Okay, ayan. So, halimbawa, yung variable 1 natin is narito sa row 1, tapos variable 2 narito sa columns. Pag click natin yung statistics, ito, makikita natin dito yung, ito, chi-square. Computation ng chi-square. Tapos yung measures of association, yung phi in Kramers, tapos yung contingency coefficient, narito siya. Itong mga to, later pag-uusapan natin kung kailan sila ginagamit. So, either i-click ko si phi in Kramers phi, tapos si contingency coefficient. Okay, para lumabas yung correlation values ng mga to. I-interpret natin ito if we have significant chi-square values. Kung sakaling hindi naman significant yung chi-square, no need. Hindi natin to kailangan interpret na contingency coefficient tapos phi and Cramer's phi. Kasi hindi nga naman significant yung chi-square. Okay, so ayun. Ulit, review ninyo yung previous video about dun sa chi-square. Kasi pinakita ko na to before na tatlong to. Yung tatlong tests. Okay, so take note, magagamit natin yung tatlong yun. Yung phi, Cramer's V, and contingency coefficient if we have categorical level of data. So, pag sabi natin categorical, either we have nominal or ordinal level of data. Si chi-square actually pwede rin magamit kapag interval, pero hindi ordinal pa rin. Kapag interval ratio level of data na, hindi na natin magagamit itong tatlong ito, phi, coefficient, contingency, tapos Cramer's V. Kasi kapag higher level of data, we have to use Pearson R. Pearson R correlation coefficient. Unless kapag may assumptions na hindi na-satisfy. For example, yung assumptions of normality. Okay. So, magpa-proceed ako, new share. Dun sa other measures of correlation, yung kappa, Spearman, tapos Kendall-Staubbe or rank correlation. Okay. So, ito yung pag-uusapan natin today. Kasi ulit, itong tatlong to ay na-discuss na natin. Pag-uusapan natin before. Yung fee, contingency, tapos Kramer's fee. Introduction muna. Wait, alisin ko. Sige. So, the relationship between two variables can be compared with correlation analysis. Kapag nagko-compare tayo ng two or more variables, nakakapag-compute tayo ng correlation coefficient. Yung mga values niyan, ang tawag natin ay mga correlation coefficients. Okay, kapag meron tayong population, ang correlation coefficient ay rho. Samantalang kapag meron tayong samples correlation coefficient, this is represented by the letter R. Okay, for example, kapag mean, ang population symbol natin ay mu, samantalang kapag sample naman yung X tapos may bar. Okay, so in this case, rho tsaka R. If we have ordinal or nominal level of data, dichotomous, for example, we can use the non-parametric correlation. Meron para tayo pag-usapan ng two types of relationship, either direct or indirect or inverse. Kapag sabi natin direct relationship, ito yung mga positive correlations. Kapag upon computation, ang lumabas ay positive values for correlation, then we have positive correlation. Ang values niyan ay from 0 to positive 1. 0 to 1 lang ang values ng correlations. So kapag positive ang lumabas na values ng correlation, then we have direct relationship. So ibig sabihin nito, direct ang relationship, pareha silang tumataas ang values or pareha silang bumababa ang values. As one variable increases, the other also increases. For example, salary and then expenses. So if a particular employee salary increases, syempre yung expenses niya pwedeng tumaas din. Or another, halimbawa, yung length of time ng pag-study or pag-review and yung score sa test. So kapag maraming oras yung ginugol mo sa pag-review, pag-aaral, yung quality na pag-review, then pwedeng mas mataas yung magiging scores mo sa test. Kapag hindi ka naman masyadong nag-review, pwedeng hindi rin ganun kataas. So ayun, yung sasabi natin direct relationship, positive correlations. Kapag negative naman yung computed values, negative correlation, indirect yun. Indirect or inverse. So dito, as one variable increases, the other decreases. So ang possible values dito ay from 0 to negative 1. Ano bang example ng relationships ang inverse or indirect? Na kapag yung isang variable ay tumataas ang level, yung isa naman ay bumababa. No, pwede nyo ma-suggest. For example, kapag merong limited resources, halimbawa, baon mo, 100 pesos lang ang baon mo. So, limited lang siya. Ay, alam ba, 500 pesos lang ang baon mo. Tapos, let's say, ano bang pwedeng maging indirect relationship? Ayun, 100 pesos yung ano mo, yung budget. Tapos, meron kang nilibreng friends. Pag mas marami sila na malilibre mo, di mas konti yung amount for each na ma-spend mo. For example, kapag dalawa lang kayo, di mas marami kang may ipanglilibre. Samantalang kapag naging apat na kayo, di mas konti na lang. Ba't yun ang naisip kong example? Ayun, so that is example ng indirect or inverse. As one variable increases, the other decreases. Or, ano ba? Yung oras sa paglalakwat siya, tapos yung, ano ba? Paglalakwat siya talaga yung naging example ko. Yung oras sa pagre-review. Di, pag mas marami kang oras na nilalaan sa paglalakot, konti na lang yung sa pagre-review. Ano ba? Ba't yun yung mga naisip ko? Example. Kayo, ano bang magiging example yun ng indirect or inverse relationship? Okay. So, ayun. Basta kailangan yung tandaan sa direct tapos sa direct at indirect or inverse relationship is yung nature ng changes na meron sila. So, kapag yung isa tumataas tapos yung isa bumababa, we have indirect or inverse. Cohen presented the following descriptions of correlation coefficients. Actually, nabanggit ko na to before pa. Yung 0.1, 0.3, tapos 0.5. Nung pinag-usapan niya natin yung chi-square. Yung pinag-usapan natin yung phi contingency. tapos Kramer's V coefficient. Nabanggit ko sa inyo na kapag 0.1, around 0.1 ang value ng coefficient, meron tayong weak relationship or small effect size. Kapag 0.3 naman, positive or negative 0.3, we have moderate or medium effect size, moderate correlation. Bakit may positive negative dito? Kasi ang values ng correlation niya is either positive or negative. So positive kapag direct, negative naman kapag indirect. Kapag positive or negative 0.5 naman, we have strong correlation or large effect size. Kapag 1.0 na ang value, we have perfect correlation. Pero mahirap makakuha ng perfect correlation. Okay, so hindi na ako dito naglagay ng discussion about phi contingency tapos Kramer's V kasi na-discuss na natin itong tatlong yan. So, punta ko kay kappa coefficient or Cohen's kappa. Itong kappa coefficient, ginagamit natin to kapag meron tayong inter-observer agreement na gustong malaman or inter-rater agreement. Ano ba ibig sabihin nito? Halimbawa, merong isang nagpatulong sa akin ng statistics tapos observation ang ginawa nila. Tapos, doon sa ginawa nila, meron silang checklist. In-observe nila yung level of engagement ng students. So, kapag dalawa lang yung observer, dalawa yung raters, merong, let's say, 15 students silang i-observe. Tapos, i-observe nila yung students kung yung level of engagement nila sa klase ay kung kung nag-engage or hindi nag-engage, meaning kapag nagpa-participate or hindi nagpa-participate. So, meron dalawang raters. Tapos, yung raters na yun ay i-rate nila yung 15 students. So ang possible response nila or possible rating is either yung student ay nag-engage or hindi nag-engage. So dalawa yun. So itong student nag-engage or hindi nag-engage. Magre-rate sila. Ngayon, so meron silang 15 ratings. Kasi 15 yung students, 15 yung i-rate nila. Ngayon, ang tanong, yung rating ba nila ni rater number 1 at rater number 2 ay nag-agree? Kung parehas ba sila ng rating doon sa 15 na students. So para malaman kung merong inter-rater agreement, kung nag-agree sila or kung hindi nag-agree yung kanilang rating. Ang statistics na pwede natin magamit ay kappa coefficient or Cohen's kappa. Okay. Yun ay kapag meron tayong two raters. Kapag meron na tayong more than two, ano ba, three or more, ang pwede natin gamitin ay ICC or intra-class ICC. Intra-class correlation coefficient. ICC. Kapag more than two ang ating raters. Pero kung dalawa lang naman yung inoobserbahan ninyo ay dalawa yung raters, we can use the kappa coefficient. Okay, ulit, ginagamit natin ang kappa coefficient if we have two raters, tapos we want to determine yung level of agreement doon sa dalawang ratings. Okay, assumptions natin, number one, the response that is made by the two raters is measured in categorical scale. Katulad nga na sinabi ko, meron lang, depende kung ilang levels ng responses. Yung example ko kanina, dalawa lang yung levels. Nag-engage or not. So, dalawa lang yun. Parang yes or no, nag-engage or not. Dichotomous. Pwede rin tatlo ang level. Yung parang level of engagement. Tatlong levels. Pwede rin apat, pwede rin lima. Depende kung ano yung levels of responses na pwedeng ibigay natin or i-rate ng raters. Pero importante dito, dapat categorical scale siya. Hindi scores. Hindi natin bibigyan ng scores. Halimbawa, 1 to, up to 100, ano kaya ang score rating ko sa students? Ito, masyado nag-engage, bigyan ko ng 95. Ito, hindi masyado, bigyan ko ng 50 lang na score. Kapag ganun, kapag scores ang ginamit natin, hindi natin magagamit si kappa coefficient. Okay. Ang pwede natin gamitin dun ay point by serial correlation siguro. Pero not the kappa coefficient kasi kailangan dito ay categorical scale lang ang responses. Okay. So number 2 naman, the response data are paired observations. Paired, ibig sabihin, so yung rating, yung example ko kanina, merong 15 students. So student 1 to 15, rating ni rater number 1. Halimbawa, ang rater natin ay teacher. Tapos i-rate nila yung level of agreement ng students. So student 1 to 15, meron silang rating. Si teacher number 2, rater number 2, meron din siyang rating sa 1 to 15 na students. So merong paired observation, makikita natin yung rating ni teacher 1 o rater 1 kay student 1, tapos yung rating ni rater 2 sa student number 1. So merong ganun, merong paired observations. Number 3, each response variable must have the same number of categories and cross-tabulation. Kailangan symmetric or square ang ating contingency table na babubuo nito. Paano natin mabubuo ito? Kasi ang compare natin dito is yung rating yung ratings ni rater number 1 at rater number 2. Dapat same sila ng level. Hindi pwedeng si rater number 1, dalawa yung kanyang rating, engaged, not engaged. Tapos si number 2 naman, si rater number 2, tatlo yung level. Yung level of engagement. Level 1, level 2, level 3 engagement, parang ganun. Magkaiba, dapat parehas sila. Kung si rater number 1, dalawa lang yung level, engaged, not engaged, dapat sa level si si rater 2, dapat dalawa lang din. Dapat parehas sila ng rating categories. Hindi pwedeng magkaiba. Okay. Kung parehas sila, halimbawa dalawa-dalawa, ayun, makakabuo tayo ng cross tabulation na 2 by 2. Engage not engage, engage not engage, parang ganun. So, each response dapat ay makakabuo tayo ng cross tabulation na symmetric. Number 4, the two raters are independent. Ibig sabihin, yung rating ni rater number 1 ay iba sa rating ni rater number 2. Ang ibig ko sabihin na iba, parang hindi sila nag-uusap, nag-agree habang nagre-rate, nagre-rate sila tapos nag-uusap na sila na ito dapat number 2. Itong estudyante hindi masyadong engaged. So, i-rate natin na hindi nag-engage yung student. So, para sa sila magre-rate na hindi nag-engage yung student number 6. Halimbawa, kapag ganun yung case, hindi na independent yung rating nila kasi nag-uusap na sila. Nagiging dependent na. So, parang yung rating ni rater number 2 affected na ng rating ni rater number 1. Hindi pwedeng ganun. Kailangan independent sila. Iba yung rating ni rater number 1 at iba naman yung decision na gagawin na rater number 2. Okay, independent observations yun. So, the rater of one should not affect the rater of another. Tapos number 5, the same raters are used to judge all observations. Hindi pwedeng sa rater number 1 pipili lang siya out of 15. Ang i-rate ko lang na level of engagement ng student itong 8. Yung iba, bahala naman sa rater number 2. Hindi pwedeng ganun. Dapat parehas sila. Kung 15 students in all, lahat ng 15 i-rate nila parehas. Hindi pwedeng pipili lang sila ng kanilang gustong i-rate. In that case, kung halimbawa, ganun yung case, halimbawa, mas masyado maraming students, 30, tapos pinaselect lang sila ng tig 15, bahala sila kung alin yung 15 na students out of 30 na gusto nilang i-rate. So si rater number 1, meron siyang nakitang 15 students na gusto niyang i-rate. Tapos sa rater number 2, 15 students din, not necessarily kung parehas sila or hindi sila parehas, basta meron silang tig 15. Kapag ganun yung case, pwedeng ang gamitin natin na hindi Cohen's kappa. Instead, we may use the Flees kappa instead. Flees kappa kapag ganun yung case. Pero kapag Cohen's kappa ang gusto natin gamitin, dapat parehas yung observations yung raratan nila. Okay, in interpreting the coefficient of the Cohen's kappa, we make use of the Landis and Koch 1977 values. So, ayan, ulit. Dito, kapag less than 0 daw, no agreement. So, dito wala dito negative values ha. Wala kasi walang negative agreement. I mean, kapag makuha natin 0 or less na value, automatic no agreement na yun. Okay, no agreement na siya. Kapag 0.01 to 0.20, merong slight agreement. Kapag 0.21 to 0.4, fair. Pag 0.41 to 0.60, moderate. 0.61 to 0.80, substantial ang agreement. While if we have 0.81, very strong ang agreement ng dalawang raters. So, ayan. So, ito yung gagamitin natin sa pag-interpret ng Kappa's coefficient. Hindi ito. Okay? Hindi yan. Hindi muna yan. Okay. Meron dito example. Ito na yung ginamit ko. Wala akong example para sa teachers. Assume that 2 nurses were asked to assess 30 participating children's sleep quality. So, meron dalawang nurse. Tapos yung dalawang nurse, ipapa-assess yung sleep quality ng children. 30 children. These 30 children ay under certain medication or intervention. Tapos sa day 1, post-intervention, day 1, check nila kung ano yung level or yung quality ng sleep ng children. Meron tatlong levels. Either poor, moderate, or good. 1, 2, 3. Poor, moderate, or good. So, si nurse 1 tapos si nurse 2, meron silang ah i-rate nila yung 30 students. Kaya dito sa data natin, meron tayo dito 30 student 1 to 30. Tapos, ito yung rating ni NARS 1, tapos rating ni NARS 2. So, 1 to 3, 1 is poor, 2 is moderate, 3 is good. Gusto, gusto nating makita dito, kung nag-agree ba yung rating ni NARS 1, yung observation ni NARS 1, at yung observation ni NARS 2, doon sa quality ng sleep ng children. So, how do we know kung merong agreement? So, ito yung solution natin. The aim of the hypothesis is to determine the extent of agreement of, wait, am I recording? Wait, stop share ko muna. Oh, recording. Sorry. Kala ko di ako nakaka-record. Share screen. Okay. So, gusto natin makita if yung agreement, kung merong agreement sa assessments ng dalawang nurses on the quality of sleep ng children at day 1 following the intervention. So, ang null hypothesis natin, walang agreement. There is no agreement in the assessment of sleep quality ng nurses. The two nurses do not agree on their evaluations or assessments of children's sleep quality. Samantalang ang alternative hypothesis natin ay merong agreement. Okay. Since we want to determine the inter-rater agreement, we can use the kappa correlation. Ang gagamitin natin ay 0.05 na significance level. Ang decision rule is to reject the null hypothesis when the computed p-value is less than 0.05. So ito yung result ng SPSS. Take note, pansinin ninyo yung tawag dito, yung solution natin na hypothesis testing ay ganito. Babanggitin natin yung aim ng hypothesis test, babanggitin natin yung tawag dito, hypothesis, alternative, tsaka yung null. Then, bakit yun yung gagamitin natin statistics, yung risk level or significance level. We have to mention the decision rule. And then, yung resulta ng SPSF. Ito yung result. So, para ipakita ko sa inyo kung paano siya ginagawa sa SPSS, copy ko muna ito. Wait. Okay, copy ko yan. Tapos, lipat tayo sa SPSS. Tanggalin ko muna ito. Lipat ko dito yung, ayan. So, lagay ko dito ang label nurse 1 assessment. Tapos dito naman, nurse, hindi, nurse 1 lang, nurse 1. Tapos ang values, lagyan ko lang kapag 1, poor, kapag 2, moderate, tapos kapag 3, good. Okay na yan. Copy ko lang ito, tapos paste ko dito, paste. Okay. Measure ordinal level yung data natin. Lagay ko dito ordinal. Okay, so ayan, data view ako. Ay, tanggalin ko pala yung decimals. Okay, so saan tayo pupunta para doon sa tawag dito? Kappa? Ay, hindi. Oh, sa Cohen's kappa. So, punta tayo sa analyze. Tapos, hmm, hindi dito. Descriptive, raw stubs. Ito. Tapos, nurse 1 evaluation sa row 1. Tapos, ay sa rows. Nurse 2 evaluation sa columns. Tapos, sa statistics, i-click ko si kappa. Okay. Pwede rin click ko si chi-square. Pero ang ano ko dito is si kappa, ang concern. So, continue. Tapos, continue. Makikita natin yung result. I-share ko yung result, output, share screen. Okay, so makikita nyo dito. Ah, ito yung case summary. Merong 30 responses mula kay nurse 1, tapos 30 responses din mula kay nurse 2. Ito yung cross tabulation. Poor, moderate, good ng sleep quality. Poor, moderate, good, nurse 1 and nurse 2. Ito yung sinasabi natin kanina na dapat symmetric ang cross tabulation. Symmetric, square. Square siya. Dito, masasabihin nyo, hindi naman square siya, rectangle. Square siya kasi 3 by 3 yung ating cross contingent, ay yung cross tabulation. Yung tawag dito. Table. Yung table, cross tabulation. Yung ito, 3 by 3 siya kasi poor moderate, good, poor moderate, tapos good. Okay, ito yung sasabihin natin na square na table. Baka sabihin nyo hindi siya square geometrically, pero square siya. Square matrix. Okay, so ito yung result ng symmetric measures. Measure of agreement, kappa, ang value niya ay 0.622. Tapos, ang approximate significance ay 0.00. Ito yung p-value. So, since ang p niya ay less than 0.05, we can reject the null hypothesis na no agreement. Ibig sabihin, merong agreement. Tapos ito yung i-interpret natin yung 0.62 using the Landis and Cock uh, values. Ang 0.622 ay substantial agreement. Balik ako dun sa ano natin, sa ito. Okay. So, ayan. So, ito yung result. Nakalagay dito 1, 2, 3, 4 moderate good, 4 moderate good. Yung observe agreement pala, saan sila, itong tinutukoy na observe agreement, ito yung kung saan sila parehas ng response. Nag-agree sila. Halimbawa, kapag itong bata na to ay poor ang quality, yung rating ni Nurse 1 at yung rating ni Nurse 2 parehas na poor, nag-agree sila dun. Pero kung halimbawa kay children number 2, kay Nurse 1 poor, kay Nurse 2 moderate, di wala silang agreement dun. Magkaiba yung kanilang rating. So kapag parehas yung kanilang rating, doon sila merong agreement. Okay? So dito sa tatlong to, sa 1-1, 2-2, tsaka 3-3. Itong 3, ibig sabihin, nag-agree sila doon sa 3 children na poor ang quality ng sleep. Nag-agree sila doon sa 8 children na moderate ang quality sleep. Tapos nag-agree sila sa 12 children na merong good quality of sleep. Doon sa other responses, alam mo dito, si nurse 1 ang sagot niya poor, samantalang si nurse 2 ang sagot niya ay moderate ang quality of sleep. Hindi sila dyan nag-agree. So yung proportion of observed agreement ay makukuha natin by the number of agreements divided by the N. Kaya meron tayong 3 plus 8 plus 12 divided by 30 or 0.076 or 77%. Ibig sabihin, 77% ng kanilang rating ay parehas. Okay? 23 out of 30 sa rating nila ay parehas. So, ibig sabihin, nagkaiba lang sila ng rating doon sa 7 out of the 30 children na magkaiba yung kanilang rating. So, ito yung observed agreement. Makikita natin sa symmetric measures na ang p-value ay 0.000. So, that is below 0.5. So, therefore, the decision is to reject the null hypothesis since the p-value nga is below 0.05. Therefore, since na-reject natin yung null hypothesis, accept natin yung alternate. The two nurses do agree on their evaluation of children's sleep quality at day 1 post-intervention. So ngayon, i-report na natin yung result. In reporting the results, babanggitin natin yung 0.622, yung p-value, yung ano ba yung interpretation ng 0.622, which is substantial ang agreement. Tapos babanggitin din natin yung observed agreement. So dito, reporting the results, ito na siya. An evaluation of agreement between two nurse observers with regard to their assessments of 30 children's sleep quality at day 1 was undertaken. The observed percentage agreement between the two nurses was 77%. Ibig sabihin, ayun nga, na-explain ko na kanina, 77% ng kanilang ratings ay parehas. Nag-agree sila. A kappa coefficient was used to correct for chance agreement. This resulted in a significant kappa of, ito yung kappa, a Greek letter, 0.662 p less than 0.05. The effect size of this kappa indicates that there was substantial inter-rater agreement between the two nurses. Okay. So ulit, gagamitin natin ang kappa kapag 2 raters or ICC kapag 3 raters. If we have, if our aim is to determine inter-rater agreement. Okay. Example din ito, yung halimbawa, gusto nating i-check yung output ng estudyante. Tapos meron tayong dalawang checkers or dalawang raters. Titingnan natin kung mayroong agreement. Ayun, magagamit natin ito, inter-rater agreement. Okay, proceed tayo sa Spearman rank correlation. Ang Spearman rank tsaka yung Kendall-Stowe. What's the name? Ito, Kendall-Stowe coefficient. Ginagamit natin ito as non-parametric correlation analysis. Okay. Ang kanyang parametric counterpart ay yung Pearson R. Okay, so ang Pearson R is the correlation coefficient, correlation analysis na ginagamit natin if we have parametric data. Pero kapag non-parametric na, kapag merong assumptions si Pearson R na hindi na meet or kapag merong assumptions na violated, gagamitin natin si Spearman's Rule or si Kendall's Tau. Okay. So, ginagamit natin yung Spearman rank if we want to determine the relationship between variables on at least ordinal scale of measurements. So, pag sabi natin at least ordinal, kapag meron na tayong nominal level of measurements lang, nominal level, hindi natin magagamit si Spearman. Kasi nga, pag sabi natin at least, ordinal level of scale, pwede ring interval o ratio. So, tanong, magagamit ba natin si Spearman rank correlation kapag ratio level of data? Magagamit natin siya. Kasi nga, at least ordinal. Okay. Kapag ratio level ang data, ang preferred siya ng gamitin ay si Pearson R. Kaya lang, kapag meron ng violation sa assumptions, papasok si Spearman or si Kendall-Star. Sorry. So yung assumptions natin, the two randomly selected variables are continuous with at least ordinal level of measurement. Sorry. And then the two variables are paired observations. Ito nabanggit na rin ito kanina, paired observations. So in reporting the results, we have to mention the sample size, the variables being correlated, the correlation coefficient, the degrees of freedom, which is n-2, and the p-value in relation to the significance level. Maggawa tayo ng example dito. 8 men were involved in a study to examine the resting heart rate regarding frequency of visits to the gym. So gustong malaman dito sa study, merong 8 men. Kunti nga lang 8 men eh, dapat dito Kendall. So merong 8 men, tapos gustong malaman kapag kung meron bang relationship doon sa resting heart rate, tapos yung frequency ng pag-visit sa gym. The assumption is that the person who visits the gym more frequently for a workout will have slower heart rate. So in this case, since meron siyang assumption na ganyan, ibig sabihin directional yung ating hypothesis test. One-tailed. One-tailed. Merong direction yung ating test. Kasi binanggit niya dito na yung assumption na kapag mas frequent ka nag-workout, slower yung heart rate. Okay, dito indirect yung relationship niya na tinutukoy. Pag mas marami yung visit to gym, slower yung heart rate. Okay. So yung table na to, nakalagay yung number of visits in the gym and also yung heart rate measured at the end of the week during the final 3 weeks of the month. So ito yung measurements. Okay, so the aim of the hypothesis is to determine if there is relationship between frequency of visits and the mean heart rate of the participants. Ang null hypothesis natin is no relationship between the frequency of visits and the mean resting heart rate. Walang relationship sa dalawang variable na ito. Yun ang null hypothesis. So there is no significant relationship between the frequency of visits to the gym and the resting heart rate of the participants. Samantalang ang alternate hypothesis natin, dapat ito. Kasi directional yung ating test. One-tailed. Ito, isusulat natin yung ganito kapag two-tailed yung ating test, non-directional. There is a significant relationship between the frequency of visits to the gym and the resting heart rate. Kapag ganito kasi na significant relationship, hindi natin alam yung nature of relationship. Positive ba or negative? Okay, so actually, ang ating alternative hypothesis ay hindi ito kasi pang two-tailed ito. Ito yung dapat natin na alternative hypothesis kasi meron tayong nabanggit ditong assumption. So sabi dito, the person who visits the gym more frequently for a workout will have a slower significant rate. Inverse relationship. Parang sinasabi niya dito na there is a significant inverse relationship between the frequency of visit to the gym and the heart rate. Since you need to determine kung merong relationship between the two variables involving 8 participants only, we can use the Superman's law. We can also use the Kendall's Tau in this case, actually. Actually, between Superman and Kendall, I prefer Kendall. Parehas lang naman yan si Superman tapos si Kendall. Parehas yung gamit kung kailan sila ginagamit. Later, explain ko yung part na yun. We will use a significance level of alpha 0.05 and the decision rule is to reject the null hypothesis when the computed p-value is less than 0.05. So, ito yung results. Paano ito lumabas? Wait. Copy ko ito. Punta tayo sa SPSS. New share. Okay. delete ko na itong data. Tapos, okay. Alisin ko na to. Delete. Ay, paano ba ito mag-delete? Oh, isa-isa yan. Hindi ba madidelete ng ganun? Sige, isisin ko muna. Okay, so dito label number of visits. Visits to the gym. Tapos ito naman, resting heart rate. Okay. Actually, nasa scale level na ito. Hindi lang to ordinal. Okay, data view. Ngayon, gusto nating malaman yung tawag dito, Spearman. Okay, so punta tayo sa analyze. Tapos, correlate by variate. By means two. Variate. Two variables. By variate. So, lagay ko silang dalawang variables. Okay, iselect ko yung Kendall's Taubie tapos Spearman. Hindi ko pa na si Kendall's Taubie pero i-check ko lang yung dalawa. Ang test of significance natin dito one-tailed. I-click ko si one-tailed. Bakit? Kasi nga directional yung study. Kasi naglagay siya ng assumption doon sa problem. So directional siya. So i-check ko lang. So ito yung result. Ito na sa baba. So sa Kendall's Taubie, ang value niya ay negative 0.429 pero ang p-value ay 0.069. Ganun din kay Spearman's Rho, negative 0.619 pero ang tawag dito, ang p-value ay 0.051. Okay. So ibig sabihin parehas na non-significant sorry, sa output pala. Ayan, hindi ko na-share screen kanina. So, hindi pa rin. Ayan, so na-share screen. Ito yung output. So, titingnan natin yung correlation coefficient. Dito ako kay Spearman muna. Negative 0.619. Tapos ang p-value ay 0.051. So, balik ako doon sa document. Okay. So, ito na nga siya. Ito yung result. Frequency of visits to the gym, tapos men's heart rate. So, ang p-value niya ay 0.051. Kahit 0.05 yan na sakto, reject pa. Ay, ano pa rin yun. Hindi tayo makaka-reject. Makaka-reject lang tayo kapag ang value niya ay less than 0.05. So, decision, do not reject the hypothesis since p is greater than 0.05. Conclusion, there is no significant relationship between the participants' frequency of visit to the gym and the resting heart rate. Kasi hindi natin na-reject yung null hypothesis. So, reporting the results, ito na siya. 8 men, n equals 8, were observed for a month. Their number of visits to the gym was documented and their mean resting heart rate was recorded during the last 3 weeks of the month. The Spearman rank order correlation coefficient was not significant. Babanggitin natin. Yung RS is Spearman rank. 6 yung degrees of freedom kasi palaging n-2. Kahit sa Pearson, n-2. Kasi 2 yung variables natin eh. So, n-2 is kaya 6. Tapos, ang value niya ay negative 0.619. P is greater than 0.05. Ito ha, kapag ang P ay insignificant, meaning kapag yung P natin ay greater than 0.05, hindi natin i-interpret yung coefficient. So, hindi natin yan i-interpret na weak correlation or strong correlation or medium correlation. Hindi natin i-interpret yung strength of correlation if the p-value is not less than 0.05. So, kapag insignificant yung result, not significant yung result, walang clear na relationship between the variables. Ibig sabihin, we have insufficient evidence to conclude na there is relationship between the variables. Kahit umabot pa yan ng 0.9, kahit umabot pa ng 0.95 yung correlation coefficient. Kasi kapag 0.95, very, ano na yun, very strong correlation. Pero still, babanggitin natin na walang relationship between the two variables if the p-value is insignificant. Okay. So in this case, example dito sa case na to, yung value 0.6, mataas na itong 0.6 na to. Substantial na to. Na, ano ba yung 0.6? Moderate relationship na itong 0.6. However, the p-value is 0.05, greater than 0.05. Therefore, we can state that there is no clear relationship between adult male resting heart rate and the frequency of visits to the gym. Okay. Okay. Example number 2 tayo. The researchers repeated experiment using females naman. Tapos meron siyang 13 participants. Ito yung number of visits to the gym of the female participants. And these are their mean heart rate. So, ganun din. Pero this time, we have two-tailed test na. Hindi na to one-tailed kasi wala na siyang nilagay na assumption eh. So, the aim is to determine if there is a relationship between frequency of visits to the gym and the hypothesis, no significant relationship between the two variables. Samantalang alternative hypothesis, there is a significant relationship. We want to determine relationship between the two variables. We can use the Spearman's rule. We will use a significance level of 0.05 and the decision rule is to reject the hypothesis, the null, when the computed p-value is less than 0.05. So this is the result na rin. Pakita ko na lang. Hindi ko na ipapakita yung SPSS kasi ganun din naman. Parehas lang. The p-value is 0.00. Significant. Okay, and the mean heart, the correlation coefficient is negative 0.85. So the decision is to reject the null hypothesis. Our null hypothesis is that there is no relationship between the two variables. We have to reject it because our value, our p-value is significant. Okay, less than 0.05. So there is a significant relationship between the women's frequency of visit to the gym and the resting heart rate. Take note, the value of the correlation coefficient is negative. Therefore, there is inverse relationship between the frequency of visits to the gym and the heart rate. Inverse relationship means the more frequent is the visit to the gym, the lower or the slower is the heart rate. And inverse relationship. So in reporting the results, we have to mention these things. 13 women were observed for 1 month. Their number of visits to the gym were recorded, and their mean heart rate was documented during the last 3 weeks of the month. The Spearman rank order correlation was significant. 11 ang degrees of freedom kasi 13 minus 2. And the result of the correlation coefficient is negative 0.86 with the p-value significant being less than 0.05. Based on this data, we can state that there is a very strong inverse relationship between adult female resting heart rate and frequency of visits to the gym. Therefore, the more frequent an adult female visits the gym, the slower is the heart rate. Okay, so ayun, yung Spearman's rank order correlation. Si Kendall's tau coefficient, ganun din. Okay? Kendall's tau coefficient, ganun din. Parehas lang to kay Spearman. Ang kinaiba lang, mas wide ang applicability ni Kendall's tau. Kasi mas magagamit natin si Kendall's tau kapag small ang sample size. Si Spearman rank, mas magagamit natin if you have large sample size. Tapos, if there are many tied responses, mas better si Kendall's tau coefficient. Okay, many tied ranks. Okay, so Kendall's tau coefficient was developed by Kendall, an alternative measure of association to Spearman's rank, Spearman's rho. Alternative siya. So, may be used under same conditions as Spearman's rho. So, actually, pwede natin gamitin si Kendall tapos si Spearman. Pwede natin silang i-report parehas. Okay. In determining the degree of association of or dependence between two variables measured on at least ordinal scales, it is an alternative to non-parametric experiment correlation, especially when you have small sample size with many tied ranks. If you consider one of your variables as an independent and the other as dependent, consider using the summers D. Dito, sa ano kasi, sa correlation, hindi tayo nagtatag dyan as IVDV. Wala tayong binabanggit yan na independent variable. Pero sa study mo, kung malinaw na yung isang variable ay dependent dun sa other variable, so merong dependence, parang malinaw sa study mo na one variable is dependent on the other variable. So one can be tagged as independent variable is not in the other as dependent variable. So you might consider using the Somers-D. Okay. Pero kapag hindi clear kung ano yung yung relationship between the two variables, hindi clear kung alin yung dependent at independent variable, di okay na tayo sa Kendall's-Tau coefficient or the Spearman's rho, rank order correlation coefficient. Okay, so that's it. Yun lang yung kailangan natin. So sa measures of association, ang parametric natin dito is Pearson R. That is our parametric correlation analysis. Kaya lang kapag merong assumptions si Pearson R na hindi na-meet, gagamitin natin si Spearman or si Kendall or both. Isa pa, kapag ang ating data ay measured categorically, so meron tayong nominal or ordinal level of data, magagamit natin ito as measures of association. Take note, gagamitin natin yan, dapat meron munang significant chi-square result. Kasi kapag hindi significant ang chi-square, don't use those three measures. Hindi natin i-report si phi, si contingency, at si Kramer's V coefficient if the chi-square result is not significant. Si kappa coefficient, gagamitin natin if we are after inter-rater agreement, inter-observer agreement. Kappa coefficient kapag two observers or intra-class correlation coefficient ICC kapag meron tayong three or more observers. Take ulit pala, nabanggit ko na si phi, contingency at Kramer's V, ginagamit natin kapag meron tayong significant chi-square result. Ulit, si phi kapag 2 by 2 ang table, si contingency kapag 2 by n, 2 by k, 2 by 3, 2 by 4. Si Kramer's V kapag n by k, 3 by 4, 4 by 5, etc. Okay, so these are the measures of association. So kung meron kayong questions doon sa study ninyo na, is there a significant relationship between the two variables? Okay, alamin niyo muna. ano yung ano yung levels of measurement na meron tayo? Do we have categorical or do we have at least ordinal level of measurement? Okay. Kapag categorical nominal lang ang meron tayo, hindi ito gagamitin natin. Okay. Tapos take note, merong paired, kapag categorical. Tapos kapag at least ordinal level of data natin, tapos merong paired observation, ibig sabihin, respondent 1, ito yung sagot niya, respondent 1, ito naman yung sagot niya dito sa variable na ito. Pwede natin makamit si Spearman tapos si Kendall's tau, rank B. Kapag inter-rater agreement, then we can use the kappa coefficient. Okay. So, yan. So, these are the measures of association.